we are going to move on into our third topic. The Oakland Raiders getting a big win on Monday night in Mexico City. And this is a team where ever since it was that, what was it, week 1 when they played the Saints? Mm-hmm. And you had that go for it on 2. Ever since that play, there has been a confidence with this team this year where it's just been, you know what, let's go for it. And they are winning games. They are strong. And actually, I did look back at it. I know that me and you watched our revised playoff video and I didn't have the Raiders in the playoff, and I freaked out because I'm like, no, I remember calling this. I looked back on Twitter, Mark. I did. I looked on my Twitter, and in my picture section, I posted it on Twitter. It says, my final updated NFL playoff prediction following the Bradford trade. And who did it have in there at the 6th spot? The Oakland Raiders going to the AFC Championship to play the Patriots. So I'm still good. I'm still set.
When you make a million different playoff predictions, one of them's bound to be right.
Hey, I said this is my final updated one. So this is the one that from September 5th. That's the one
I got a final updated one too. It's week 17. You guys check my Twitter. It will be there. I guarantee 100% accuracy.
But really, is this Oakland Raider team, are they a Super Bowl level team?
Well, you know what? I hate to do this to you, Ricky, but and the way you word it, are they a Super Bowl level team?
Or caliber team?
It makes me want to say no.
Should we say caliber team?
Either way, I mean, I'm gonna still say no. Can they get to a Super Bowl? Yes. They could get to a Super Bowl, but I don't think they're a Super Bowl caliber team. I think they're a team that's had a lot of luck. I think they're a team that's had a lot of things go their way, and the mistakes that they've made have not costed them any games so far, really. That's really what I think it comes down to for the Oakland Raiders. They are still a really good team. They are still one of the best teams in the NFL. We had them ranked 2nd in our NFL Power Rankings at mostvaluablepodcast.com. So obviously they're a good team, but I think when it comes down to what we talked about just last week with the Dallas Cowboys, when you actually start getting into the playoffs, there are no room for mistakes. Just ask the Cincinnati Bengals. There are no room for you to make any mistakes. There's no room for you to be undisciplined. It just makes me feel like the Oakland Raiders, because of some of the youth, because it's been a while for Oakland, I don't know that they're going to quite get there. I think that they've had a lot of things go right this year to where things could continue to go right, and sure, they could end up there, but I think that there are better teams in the NFL that kind of bump them out of that Super Bowl caliber type of team.
I think that this team, I'm going to say it, this team is a Super Bowl level team, and I'm going to compare it to this. I'm going to make a little analogy, and you tell me if I am off my rocker or on my rocker, Mark. This team this year, I am thinking they are going to be more like the 2015 version of the Chicago Cubs. Really good team. No one expected them to be as good as they are with all the young talent that they have. Everyone was saying, oh, well, with Derek Carr and Amari Cooper and the young talent, give them a few years to gel. Give them a few years to get going. They're going to go. They're going to do good this season like they are. They're going to get to that AFC title game and most likely you lose. Most likely to the Patriots. Then next year, we're talking about Raiders in the Super Bowl.
I can agree with that. I think the thing for the Raiders is they got a really good passing attack. They got a good running game, too. This team can score points. The thing that they're having trouble really doing is not letting the other team be right there with them. Yeah. Whether it's because of the defense slacking, because they give up a lot of yards.
It's not one of the top defenses in the league.
It's quite far down there, actually. Or it's just the fact that, they're also a little bit, I keep saying it, the team's a little undisciplined. They give up their penalties, and that's going to allow teams to stay in the game. I mean, you look at a game like the Saints, you look at a game like the Ravens, Chargers was decided by 3. They have a lot of these games that were too close for comfort. Even this game, down in Mexico City against the Texans, too close for comfort. And sure, it looks good. A win is a win. But those are the things that just kind of make it a little, I don't know, it doesn't make it easy for me to say, sure thing, Super Bowl caliber, because I think once they start playing, a team like Kansas City again, who they've already lost to, when they play a team that's got that experience, like the Patriots, the Denver Broncos, who are in their division, and they have beat the Denver Broncos, but these are the teams that have that kind of been there, done that mentality, and they can capitalize on those kind of things. Oakland is that young team that you're really excited about and everybody loves it. Same thing to Dallas, but they're just not the big kids on campus yet. They're just kind of surprising people and saying, hey, we're going to be there. Not necessarily right now, but we're going to be there.
We're going to play a little game, and this is going to help me make my next point, even if I don't want to make it, because you guys will see. I'm going to give you 2 quarterbacks.
Okay.
I'm going to give you quarterback A and quarterback B. You tell me which quarterback you rather have, and then I want you to try to guess which 2 quarterbacks they are. I'll give you this. They're both playoff teams if the playoffs started this week, so that'll eliminate some teams for you. Mm-hmm. Here's quarterback A completion percentage of 66.2, 2,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, 4 INTs, 11 sacks. Here's quarterback B. 67.7 completion percentage, 2,640 yards, 17 touchdowns, 2 INTs, 14 sacks. Which quarterback do you go with, A or B?
I like that completion percentage that I got out of quarterback B quite a bit more than I like quarterback 1's completion percentage. I know that I feel like quarterback 1 was Derek Carr.
It is.
Because of the interceptions.
It is.
Only being 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. Not 100% sure on quarterback 2.
Really? You don't know who quarterback 2 is?
No.
You have no idea?
No idea.
Mr. Wonderboy this year?
No, not one idea.
Mr. Wonderboy? The interception number didn't give it away for you, Mark?
Nope.
Dak
No idea
Prescott?
who it could be.
Little Dak Prescott?
No. Interesting to compare those two so closely.
And really, I'm making a point because those numbers, and if you look at the stat lines, very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar between Carr and Prescott. And when you look at these teams overall, when you look at the Cowboys and then you look at the Raiders, 2 defenses where you're not looking at Dallas and saying, oh, stellar defense. You're not looking at Oakland and saying, oh, stellar defense. But one thing you are saying with both of these teams, they've got running backs that they can rely on. Of course, you're going to give the edge to Zeke in that comparison. They both have quarterbacks who have similar touchdown numbers and keep the turnovers low. Similar completion percentage as well. Dak has been a little bit better because, let's be honest, Dak doesn't air the ball out as much as Derek Carr does.
Loves to air the ball out, yeah.
Then you take a look at what these 2 teams and their strength is. They both have great offensive lines. Probably, and I might say this and go out a limb, the 2 best offensive lines in the NFL this year.
Yeah, it's interesting to put those 2 together. It's not a comparison I would have thought to make.
Both of those teams, number 1 in their respective conferences right now.
And the interesting thing about it is the thing I'm saying about, and I even already made this comparison, but the thing I'm saying about the Oakland Raiders is exactly what I said last week about the Dallas Cowboys of this young team that's going to make their splash. It's just not right now. They're kind of getting their feet wet, and then probably in the playoffs, some, kind of older, more seasoned, experienced team is going to knock them back down.
So basically, we're going to have a Oakland, New England, Dallas, Seattle championship round, and then the Patriots and Seattle are going to go to the Super Bowl. I
can see something. I don't know if it'll get to the championship round. I could definitely see one of these teams getting surprised and knocked out early.
Well, and if the playoffs ended today, Oakland
they're
would,
no number 1 seed. So
yeah, so Oakland would have to play here. I'll give you this: Baltimore, Denver. Who wins that game?
Denver.
So boom, Oakland's playing Denver. Would Denver be able to beat Oakland? I know we've only had one game. They've
already
beat
them once.
Season.
Yeah,
it would be in Oakland again, where the first game was. Does Oakland lose that game?
I want to give some edge to the defense, but I'm not going to trust Trevor Siemian or Paxton Lynch.
Then Oakland would make it to the title game. Looking at Dallas on the other side, I'll ask you the simple question I asked on the other side. Lions, Redskins, who wins that game?
Lions.
So I have to ask you the second one. Falcons, Giants, who wins that game?
Giants.
That means Giants, Cowboys in Dallas, who wins? That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. It is a very, very big toss-up.
2 divisional matchups for both these teams, too, that we had.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I think that, I don't know. I kind of want to give it to the Giants just from that defense is really turning on right now.
So as of right now, Dallas is the team that might not make it there. The Raiders might have the road where if the Broncos beat the Texans, because let's be honest, the Texans aren't that good of a team, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, then the Raiders could be the one in the title game. The Cowboys could not. But I just wanted to play that.
Could be a Andrew Luck Colts type situation.
I do agree with you that this Raider team will most likely, A, not make the Super Bowl, and B, get knocked off. I want to say this team, they are almost my lock. I am almost, if they finish with I'll put it this way, if they finish with the number 1 seed, they are a lock for the AFC title game for me. A lock for the AFC title game. However, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that New England's going to flip with them. And it'll be New England 1 and Oakland 2 when we get to the playoffs. However, I do think that if they get either 1 or 2, they're probably home field advantage in that divisional round. They're most likely going to that AFC title game.
Yeah, I think that's something to think about, of course, for the Oakland Raiders is the fact that they're playing the Panthers, they're playing the Bills, they got to play the Colts. 3 teams which right now I would take Oakland over all 3 of those teams. The Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Broncos, 2 of those games, very much a toss-up. The other one's just a divisional game at your division opponent, the Chargers, so I don't want to completely give it to the Raiders.
And it was a close game in Oakland the first time, only a 3-point differential.
So it's interesting. It could definitely go kind of either way. I think, in all honesty, that next season, I should say this coming off season, I think everyone's going to be saying Oakland Raiders Super Bowl favorite.
Picks.
You know, I think a lot of people are going to be saying this is that hot team that we all should expect to make the run for it. And whether they do or not, we'll find out. But I really think that people are just going to expect the progression of Derek Carr to continue. And just, I don't know, he's really looking good this year.
Well, and it was like this. I heard it on this morning when I was listening to the Dan Patrick Show. They play the commercials in between the commercial breaks, and it was from actually the Rich Eisen Show. And he's like, you know what? I was sitting there on my couch listening to the Sunday night football game when the Raiders played the Broncos, and he goes, Chris Collinsworth turned to Al Michaels and said, oh, well, who does that look like to you? And he goes, I answered it before him. I turned to my 5-year-old son, and I said, that's Aaron Rodgers. That looks like Aaron Rodgers out there with that throwing motion, which, hey, looking at that, maybe that's a good comparison for Derek Carr skill-wise to have. Maybe not mentally, because I think Aaron Rodgers is a little bit of a crybaby right now and needs to just shut up and focus on football, but good thing Derek Carr does not have to worry about that.
A lot of things going on in Green Bay right now. I don't know what's up.
That is a time for a different. That's a different time for when we have TK.
That's our dating advice podcast right there.
That's when we have TK back.
Give some
on.
dating and family advice to Aaron and I forget what his brother's name is. Jordan
Rodgers. Apparently, Jordan doesn't have Aaron's cell phone number. I learned that.
Well, that was the whole thing when he was on The Bachelorette.
The immediate family does not have Aaron's cell phone number.
Apparently, there are some issues in that family, is what Jordan said to his new girlfriend, JoJo.
Mm-hmm. Are they still together, by the way?
No idea.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. But this is where you guys come in and let us know down below. Are the Raiders a Super Bowl level team? And what do you think the Raiders are going to do this season, in the rest of the season, and then in the playoffs if they get there?